It's been quite some time, Algorand family, but welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Decided, hey, let's talk about Algorand because, I do recall seeing a comment like not too long ago, Crypto ZX, give us an update on Algorand. So, I was like, hey, let's talk about Algo, see what's happening. Been a while. So, again, if you want to see more of Algorand updates, just make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and your bell icon is on. And of course, let me know in the comments and I will try my best to give you guys more updates on Algorand. But again, at this point, if you do watch my overall channel, you guys know what has been happening for the crypto space. Friday, November 7th was a great day overall for the crypto space, but again, zoom out, right? What I mean by zooming out is if you kind of take a look at the bigger picture, we're still down tremendously for a lot of altcoins. In Algorand's case, look at it on a monthly time frame, you'll see for yourself it's still down about 18.6%. But let's take a closer look and see what's happening. Before we do that, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So Algorand right now sitting at 17.7 cents, getting closer to 18 cents price point. It's also up 6.8% on the Bitcoin side of things with the valuation approaching $1.6 billion. 24-hour trading volume at about 116 million. As always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So as we know at this point, if you are coming onto the channel, you would know if you hold Algorand that this is a layer 1 blockchain. And layer 1s, there's so many out there at this point. So in terms of a competition out there, there is a lot of competition for Algorand. But, speaking about utility, you always see that word being thrown around in the crypto space, utility projects, utility projects. Guess what? Algorand is one of the projects that brings utility, that has pretty much a strong utility. But now the question is whether or not, the native tokens price could, start to show some strength, because let's face it, the entire year, I would say, has been quite slow for the broader market, and we have not seen a lot of coins, pull any sort of gains since pretty much, I would say, late last year. So again, people want to know whether or not things could start heating up, because now, the likes of ICP, the likes of Zcash, the likes of Dash, there's a lot of coins that are picking up momentum. Is this the start to an altcoin season? Because again, historically speaking, again, if this is your first time coming onto the channel, you might not know this, but I've been talking about this on my channel quite a bit. Historically speaking, we are getting closer to the bull market end. But a lot of people say this time around is different because, of course, regulation is coming towards crypto industry. We're seeing major liquidation that occurred on October, that shook out a lot of the market. Again, the biggest liquidation in the crypto space. Some people actually calling that as the bottom, and saying, this cycle is going to have an extension, because of course, we're seeing bills being passed, in favor of crypto, and how crypto is going in mainstream, institutions coming in, so much happening. Again, no one really knows how 2026 is going to look like. But again, historically speaking, now around, quarter four of this year and early next year, like early next year, the timeline is that for myself, and I've shared that on the channel before. But again, that's my own personal opinion, and I'm basing it off of what I've seen in the past. So could this be the time where you finally see altcoin, profits coming from Bitcoin into alts, and the dominance, pulling down? Because over the last 24 hours, what we have seen is quite a sharp pullback for the dominance going into the weekend. On the weekend, more manipulation than usual as CME futures are closed. But this retracement that we did see for the dominance, while Bitcoin is still hovering around, the 38.2, nowhere near where it needs to be honest. And in my books, Bitcoin is showing weakness, but yet you're seeing a lot of gains being made across the board today, and that is due to that. But with that being said, I obviously, as you guys know, I'm not buying Bitcoin's move right now, because let's say if the real test is going to be if Bitcoin, starts to either trade sideways here, which would be, I think, a good sign if it trades sideways. But if it pulls down below the 38.2, loses the 100K key range, then I think dominance goes back to where it was. So that's something we want to be looking out for. But again, let's kind of go back down memory lane. A lot of people, make comparisons, to the previous cycle and, to this cycle. Again, we need to understand there's so much competition. A lot of retail has been, more focused, to be quite frank with you, on the meme coin side of things. This market is now driven by the institutional side of things, in my opinion. Yes, I'm not saying retail is not here. I'm definitely not saying retail is not here. Retail is definitely there, but I think a lot of the retail investors have gotten into the meme coin side, and again, that's my overall thesis, and I think a lot of them might not have done good on the meme coin side of things, that they're just like completely out of crypto at this point. But with that being said, now if you're looking at Algorand, I've shared this with you guys. It's still within the bear market cycle, which is crazy to think of. Which is crazy to think of. Yes, people are going to make comparisons to, oh well, November 2021. Obviously, we reached this crazy price action for Algorand. But you want to keep one thing in mind. What was the circulation supply around here? Much, much lower compared to what it's at now. But tokenomics look good. Tokenomics look much better. Like, I think the best that they have been. So now people are making comparison here since the ICP run. People are wondering, are all the other coins, like altcoin season, that's where the conversation really comes in. Are a lot of coins really about to see, excitement? We'll see what happens, but let's take a look at what's happening with Algorand. But again, last year Algorand was sitting at 10 cents price point, and it had a massive move towards the upside. You can see for yourself, Algorand ran up 459%. Are we about to see something similar playing out? Because November, 3rd is where things started moving. And literally a year ago, you could pretty much say this is where things started moving. But around here, Donald Trump became the president, and I think that was a huge catalyst as well. But let's take a closer look and see, what's happening with Algorand. So pretty much since that, move in, December, we came down to obviously, the 31 cents. The yearly high for this year, 2025, was at 50 cents price point. Since then, pretty much back to, where we were, prior to, this major move towards the upside. But you could see for yourself, just in July, we were sitting at about 33.8 cents. But again, you can see for yourself, we lost that support around 22 cents price point, and now we are sitting below it. But what would be very interesting for Algorand right now is to reclaim back above this key resistance. We were actually above here at the beginning of October. You could see for yourself, that's exactly where we were. I'm sure you guys know about the, market-wide liquidation at this point. But you can see for yourself, the price of Algorand has seen quite an impressive move towards the upside. We've seen a move of about 26.4% since November 4th. So in just the last 4 days, quite an impressive move. But you want to see the price of Algorand pushing back up to this key resistance at 22 cents price point. This would be a nice confirmation, in my opinion, for us to start heading up to, where we were back in July. And then pretty much after that, things could start heating up. But pay attention to the broader market right now. You guys shouldn't be focusing on, the higher time frames, the 38.2, the point 50, the 61.8. There's no point. There's no point in doing that. Your first focus, if you're an Algorand holder, is for the price of Algorand to try its best to break out into the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level. This is, the bear market zone end, in my opinion, right here. And imagine a lot of capital that is sitting out, and some people look for confirmations, and this would be the biggest confirmation, in my opinion, if the price is able to break out. But again, in terms of an opportunity standpoint, obviously we're speculating, but in terms of an opportunity standpoint, this would be a move of about 312% from where we currently are for the price of Algorand to get back into the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level. And I think after that, things can get very exciting. But again, this is if we get back into the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level. But I've been in this space for almost 10 years. Next year marks 10 years, and we still have a lot of time. Again, in terms of a timeline aspect, even if we were to historically, kind of compare, let's say we do see market kind of pumping into till January, you still have quite a bit of time, and it doesn't take months and months and months for the prices to go up. Look what happened last time. Yes, you can make the argument that, oh, Donald Trump won, but again, if we were to see an altcoin season overall play out, dominance pulls down, continues to pull down. That's what you want to see, not just come back down to this key range and start picking up. And I do think this can happen. We come back down to here, dominance starts picking up. If Bitcoin does not hold around these levels, then I think pretty much everything gets invalidated. So that's what we need to be looking for. But again, if you were to ask me what would be a target to be looking out for Algorand, we want to see the price of Algorand pushing up to the 22 cents price point, which I think it can reclaim back above. And that would be quite something, because the last time the price was above there was literally a month ago. So again, that's something I want you guys to keep in mind. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. What are your overall thoughts on Algorand? What excites you the most about Algorand? If you want to see more Algorand updates, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know whether you think Algorand is going to compete with one of the big players. And what are your overall projections as far as the project itself is concerned? Thank you so much for all the levels. See you later, my crypto ZX.